welcome to this video. Today I thought I would show you guys my journaling setup because as you guys might know, I recently acquired the Paper Republic letter journal and she's my pride and joy. She's so stunning and I could finally start it last week. I first wanted to finish my other journal, but that was finally full, so I started it and made like a setup that I think is really going to work for me. I've been loving it so far and I think I will get so much use out of it, so I wanted to share it with you guys today. I have no idea if anyone is interested in this type of content, but I am currently obsessed with my journal, so I want to talk about it and you just have to deal with it. Before I got my Paper Republic journal, I actually always used the Leuchtturms. This is my collection that I've been writing in since 2019, so like 6 years of my life have been chronicled in these journals. And not gonna lie, I was a little bit sad that this was like the end of an era, like the end of my Leuchtturm era. I really like having like all the matching journals and like collecting them. And you know, that's gonna change now, but sometimes change is good. And something that I'm really happy about now is how with the Paper Republic journal, I can separate all my like journaling interests in different little notebooks, because that is like the draw of having a letter notebook like this. You can put different notebooks in there. So instead of bundling everything in one journal, which honestly sometimes really made it one huge mess, now I have everything separated in a designated notebook. So I'm gonna walk you guys through everything, like all of the details of my journal, how I set it up. But let's first start with what kind of journal this is. This is the Paper Republic Grand Voyageur in the color Venezia. She's absolutely stunning. I wanted this color specifically, but it was constantly sold out, so I waited until it was back in stock. I do have to say that in the end, Paper Republic kindly gifted this to me, but I was mind blown by that. Like, I was fully going to buy this myself, so this is not sponsored in any way, but I do want to be transparent that this journal itself was a gift. But I bought everything else myself. So let's start with the charms that you see on the journal. I haven't seen many people do this with like the Paper Republic ones, but I know everyone does it with the Louise Carmen. Is it Louise Carmen or Carmen Louise? I forgot. I think Louise Carmen. They adorn those with all the charms because you can actually order them with the journal on the website. And I just love the look of that. I kind of like loved the plain look as well because it was just so sleek and like vintage looking. But for now, I really like it with the charms. I bought these charms in a old jewelry shop in Milano. I can look up the name if you're interested in visiting as well. It is called Vigano Alta Moda. I will put the name in the screen or in the description down below so you can check it out. This shop went super viral on TikTok like 2 years ago because you can make like charm bracelets and necklaces there and you can pick all the different charms yourself. So that is why I remembered it existed and I was like, well, I can also use those charms for my journal. So I just have this little like coin. Here I have a little faux orange gemstone and this is a cornicello, which is like an Italian good luck symbol. A lot of people says it looks like a pepper because they often come in red in like the traditional way, but I got a gold one and yeah, it's called cornicello and they're supposed to bring good luck, so that's why I picked that. I also have my initials stamped on here, if you can see, so there could be no confusion about whose journal this is. And I get this question a lot on Instagram, so I just thought I'd share here too in case you guys were curious. But my go-to pen that I always use, always, is the Pilot V5 High Tech Point in 0.5. And I have dozens of these lying around the apartment because I'm so scared I'm gonna be without that I just keep ordering them. They're like scattered everywhere. I have one in every bag because this is my ride or die. This pen is amazing. Like, it's just the perfect thickness. It's also perfect for annotating books because the line is so thin and precise. Yeah, when I find some good stationery, I'm like loyal unto death, so I hope they never discontinue this. Okay, now let's get into the fun part. Let's go inside my journal so I can show you how I set it up. First notebook I have in my journal, and this is my writing journal, and I can hear you thinking like, what do you mean? All journals are for writing. But this is the journal I use for like inspiration for writing. So whatever I put in here, I might use later for like a poem or an essay or a story or even an Instagram caption. Like whenever I have thoughts or feelings or observations that I want to put into words, I will write it down here and then I can always come back to it. Like whenever I'm like, maybe I want to write a poem today, I can just leaf through this and see whatever I wrote down and see if something like sparks imagination. But like I said, so far I haven't been using it so much yet, because I did realize that now everything is spread out between 4 journals, because I have in total 4 journals in here. Like, they're gonna fill up much slower. My other journals are always full so fast because I use them for like everything at the same time. But these all have their own designated little like purpose, so they might not fill up as fast. And since I didn't have a lot of writing inspiration the past few weeks because I have been putting everything into my novel, this one is not very utilized so far, but it's fine. She will have her moment. Then the next one is my proper journal. This is where I write about my life. This is where I clear my head, where I complain about, you know, minor inconveniences. And this is the journal that I don't care about the way I'm writing. Like, anything is allowed here. Like, when I read back my journals where I'm just talking about my feelings and my day, it sounds like an 8-year-old wrote them. Like, it's so ridiculous, to be honest. The other day I was reading back the passages that I wrote when I met my boyfriend, and it was really like I was reading the diary of an 8-year-old with a crush. It's like kind of embarrassing, but then again, no one ever has to read this, and it's for me clearing my head, keeping my memories, and that has nothing to do with anyone else. So it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be like Nobel Prize worthy, it's just for me. And that's kind of like a nice feeling, especially now that it has its own little designated notebook, because it won't interfere with my more like poetic writing, because that will go into the other journal. So yeah, I feel good about that decision. At the back of this journal I have like a little post-it with my current to-dos for that week, because I am a list maker. I have to make lists for everything, otherwise I go crazy. Like, my brain is like an internet browser where all the tabs are currently open. Like, if I have things to do but that I cannot immediately do, but I have to do at some point in the future, it's like that tab is open in my brain and it's constantly running and constantly taking energy. If I write it down on a list, it doesn't take that much energy because I know it's safely put somewhere, so I don't have to constantly think about it because I'm not gonna forget it. It's written down. So yeah, my post-it with my little list, they're life-saving, to be honest. Then I have a little like folder that came with the journal, and I use that just for keeping like little scraps of paper and stickers and other things I might want to use later to put in my journal. Here I have my passport photos that I took. You know, I put one in the front of my journal just so I will remember when I look back on it later what I look like at that time. And then in the middle of that folder we have a notebook where I write my book reviews, because I always wrote my book reviews online. Like, I still do. I post them on Goodreads and obviously like on Instagram and stuff. But I want to be a little bit more analog and a little bit more intentional with the way I engage with media. So I thought writing down my reviews would be a really good way of doing that. And so far I've been really enjoying it, because usually after I finish the book, I would go straight to Goodreads and write my thoughts down there, but obviously with the idea that other people were going to read them. So I would tend to overthink my reviews. And here, I don't have to do that. I can just brain dump all my feelings about the movie or book that I read, and I can sculpt it later if I want to, you know, post it online at some point. So that's been really fun. I'm also keeping a list at the front with an overview of all the books I read per month, so it's just nice to keep track that way. And yeah, I hope this is a habit I'm gonna stick with because it's been really fun. Lastly, I have my commonplace journal slash spiritual archive slash grimoire even. Like, I don't talk about it a lot on YouTube or any of my social media, to be honest, but I love spirituality. I'm very fascinated by it, especially paganism. I love learning about it. I love, you know, picking elements that resonate with me and integrate them into my own life and my own practices. And I wish to be even more intentional about that in the time to come. Like, I wish to be more in tune with the seasons. I wish to celebrate more pagan holidays and just really take a moment on these days to, you know, be intentional with what I want, what I'm looking for, how I'm feeling. So I thought keeping track of that with a journal would be a really good way of, you know, holding myself accountable, but also keeping an archive of everything I'm learning and how I'm progressing in my practice and maybe like changing in my practice. So that is the main purpose of this notebook, but I also wanted to keep it a little bit as a commonplace journal, just like writing down interesting facts that, you know, fascinate me and I want to remember, maybe quotes that inspire me, because to me it all sort of coincides with each other, because my spiritual practice is very rooted in the real world and mostly in the natural world. I think most of the facts I'm going to be interested in are also going to be about the natural world, if that makes sense. So I feel like it all sort of like coincides with each other. It's like my quest for knowledge and my quest for more intentional living. It's all chronicled in this journal. So this is definitely my favorite one of the 4. I did not keep anything like this before. I just sort of mixed it all up in my other journal, like I said. But that made it very hard to find things back. And now I know that everything is going to be in this one. I think it's going to be much easier to, you know, keep track of things. So I'm really, really excited about that. Also, my first page, look at that. Gorgeous. I got a printer recently because I wanted to be able to print things whenever I wanted. So I've been printing a lot of like Pinterest photos to decorate my journals with, and it's been so fun. I'm really loving how everything looks. On the first page of this journal, I have my rules for living, and this is like an ever-changing, expanding project. So I left some space on the right page to expand if necessary. But yeah, these are just some insights or some like spiritual beliefs that have really stuck with me over the years and that are very true to me and like feel very close to how I wanna move through this world and through this life. So yeah, just for myself, I wanted to make a little overview. Just whenever I feel a little lost, I can go back to them and, you know, feel more grounded again. Then on the next page, I have something that I've been recently so interested in, and it's the symbol of the spiral. Like, as you can see, I'm also wearing an earring of a spiral, and this is sort of what it all began with, because I have been eyeing spirals for a while now, but it didn't really hit me until the moment I saw these earrings in a market stall, and I just felt such a strong urge to have them. Like, I just had to have them. I was like, I need something with spirals in my life, and I also was drawing them a lot. So I saw that like spirals were like a returning element in my life at the moment, which just made me do some research into the symbol, and I became very fascinated with it, and I just took some notes on what I found in my research. And I love doing this, like even if it's nonsense that I'm researching, I just love the feeling of being in school again for a moment and like taking notes, because that was my favorite part of being in school, like taking nice notes, like nice summaries with all of the different color markers. Amazing. That hit so good. So every now and then I just like to do that, and this journal is going to be the perfect place for that. So I think I will use this particular notebook a lot. So that was the quick walkthrough of my journaling setup. I'm sorry it's such a short video this week, but I honestly didn't even think I had time to film, but I just wanted to post something because I have been semi-consistent lately. I want to keep it going, and I just really wanted to talk about my journal. But yes, my novel has been kicking my ass lately. I'm like nearing the end of the first draft, so I've just been super busy and like motivated to keep going, but it also means I had a little bit less time to film. I hope to have like a proper video up again next week, or at least soon. But yeah, for now I just wanted to show you my journal. I hope it inspired you a little bit at least, and I'm planning on like keeping track on how it's going and how this setup is working for me, so I might give up an update later and show you if I made any tweaks. But for now, thank you for being here with me, and thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!